Alright, and what's up, you pussy boys? I've got a nice little game here today that'll satiate those sweet cheeks of yours. Moonlighter is a beautiful little game reminiscent of the early Legend of Zelda games. It's also very akin to modern roguelike dungeon crawlers like The Binding of Isaac. Overall, I found the game quite enjoyable and well worth the admission. So if you don't want to, go too further into this little review and you just like watching the beginning of it because you're a fucking cunt, I would say that this game is well worth your time. It's got great combat, great economic components, and both of those complement each other great, and it's only $19, so I wholly recommend you give this game a try if that sounds interesting to you. The story itself is actually pretty simple and self-explanatory. You're a young shopkeeper who dreams of becoming a hero. And that's about the short and sweet of it. There really isn't much to the story, honestly, until the end. It gets a bit weird towards the end, if I'm being brutally honest. The combat system is interesting and robust with several different weapon types and several different armor types. And you can mix and match between those different weapons and different armor slots. You have spear, sword and shield, greatsword, gloves, and bow and arrow as far as primary weapons. And then you also have armor types like steel, iron, and cloth. Of course, that goes without saying. The steel is going to be the heaviest, and then cloth is going to be able to allow you greater range of movement. These weapons, as well as having normal attacks, they also have unique specials that activate as well. Although these are mostly useless, and honestly, I just mashed the dodge roll and hit the regular attack button to defeat most enemies. I found that to be much more useful than any of the special abilities that came with any of these weapons. And besides having a fucking phenomenal combat system, they also have a very, very nice economic system. And it fully complements the dungeon crawling aspect of the game. Basically, you roam the dungeons at night and sell your loot and manage the shop during the day. The money you earn while running these shops is vital to your dungeon crawling efforts later and allowing you to upgrade your shop, town, weapons, and armor. And making sure that you have the top tier weapons and armor that you can have equipped in that dungeon is almost paramount to actually completing that dungeon, because if not, the boss fight at the end will fuck you up immensely. So always go to that boss fight equipped with the best gear you can have for that dungeon, because each dungeon drops certain loot, and that loot can be used to upgrade your equipment. Usually these dungeon crawls will take quite a few times, and you'll need to spend quite a few days going through them and picking up loot, reselling it through your shop, and repeating the cycle over and over again until you can get the top tier weapons and armor. I also recommend upgrading your shop in that time period, because the more you upgrade your shop, the more help it will be to you in the final end game. Now, one of the few places that I did find the game lacking was in replayability. There are 4 dungeons in all, 4 bosses overall, including the last boss, which makes 5, I guess. And each one of them is very unique and fun in their own aspect, but once you're done, you're done. You can't fight them again. There is no option at the end of the game to, do a boss rush mode, or, go through dungeons and just fight the bosses on a higher difficulty level. That way they're top tier like you and they'll do substantial more damage. And this game is in desperate need of an update that allows more dungeons, maybe some DLC, and like I said before, maybe a boss rush mode where you can just fight the bosses themselves, or a boss rush mode where they add more bosses, which would be fucking phenomenal. But once you finish the game, that's it. The fun is over. There's nothing new or interesting for you to discover. You can still go into the dungeons, but there isn't anything for you there besides loot that you can take back to your shop and sell, and some monsters that you've already walked over for the rest of the game, and especially with you being top tier looted out, none of them are going to be difficult for you. It's not even going to be even a challenge at this point, and there's not really a point of going back. The most that you can hope for is start the game over again and try it again on a more higher difficulty level. At least until they come up with an update. Hopefully they will. This is by the same developers that made This War of Mine, I believe. I don't know, I'd have to look it up later, but they came out with substantial updates for that game as well, and great respect for them for making such a great game. So while this game is exciting and fun beating, it's dull and boring at the end, and really, there's no reward. You might as well just suck it up and accept the fact that the ending just kind of sucks. But to just try and finish this all up before I start rambling and start saying any more stupid shit, I wholly recommend this game. I recommend you at least give it a try, maybe pick it up on a sale, but it's only $19, and it's a fun game. It'll give you about 10 hours of playtime, maybe more, depending on if you do a subsequent playthrough. And it's got a unique combination of, you know, dungeon crawling, roguelike dungeons, with a robust economic system where you can manage your own shop, which I think is a pretty interesting idea. So give this game a try. I just want to say I'm sorry that my videos have not been coming in at all. I've been going through a lot of shit recently, and I'm just trying to fucking work through it the best way I can. Not doing so well, but, you know, I played this game, saw it on Steam, and I really wholly enjoyed it, and I decided that, you know, it might be nice to do a little review on this and see what you people think, see if there's anybody still watching my videos, and, you know, trying to hop back into things. I did have a couple of other reviews slated out, but I just lost interest. I wanted to do Far Cry 5, and I wanted to do several other games, but, you know, just kind of fell off. And it's just been kind of shitty. Don't really know how else to explain it. Not in a good state of mind in my head right now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little review. Let me know what you think, and let me know if there's a game that you want me to take a look at and get my opinion on. I'm always willing to at least give any game a try. But thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you.